Buongiorno.
Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 9th Design Summit. So we are almost at the 10th Design Summit. Well, the title of today's summit is The New Normal of Italian Furnishings, to highlight the fact that, as you know, after 2 years, so after COVID, this sector has grown a lot. And I think we can say that we are in a situation in which companies are on a market that is, has this kind of physiological trend, and within this market, we have a difference that is made by strategies of the companies. So before starting, I would like to thank our partners, Interni. First of all, we have Gilda from Interni, and she will take the floor after me, and she will share her vision of this sector. Then also Borsa Italiana, that plays host to our meetings, Made Italy Fund, and Sita Ricerca, Tabu, and Stellantis, who is one of our most important partners. Well, I'd like to call here on stage Gilda Bojardi, who is director of Interni magazine.
Buongiorno e grazie.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for being with us. I would also like to thank David Pambianco and Paola Novati for once again this year, for the 9th edition, for asking Interni to be a partner of the Design Summit this year, with a team that offers us a lot of food for thought and for future development. The new normal topic of Italian furniture gives us the opportunity to talk about and the exchange between the worlds of design, production, and distribution, which are constantly evolving. To develop my speech, I connect to the topic of this year's Interni exhibition event at the Fuori Salone, to underline how this cultural and experimental debate of temporary events lays the foundations for a real exchange of views in the field of architectural and interior design. Well, we have 6 different venues this year. You see the Università degli Studi di Milano, Orto Botanico, Hotel Portrait Milano, Italy Milano Smeraldo, Unipol Urban App, and Torre Velasca, with completely a fully digital installation. Well, the topic that we gave to designers and architects, so young designers and artists, is the design re-evolution. That is to say, a reflection on the topic of evolutionary thinking understood as a design tool. So, transformation and the ability to create synergies between different knowledge and disciplines, such as science, economics, and art. Revolution implemented in a research applied to the most sustainable materials and from the circular economy chain. And the evolution of the production processes aimed at a stronger integration between designer and user. And we also carried out a survey on the territories, and we know that this knowledge is not good enough in terms of new technologies, artificial intelligence. Well, the cross-cutting and underlying objective of our service and research is the improvement of the quality of life of those who live there, and recompose the fracture with nature in a multidisciplinary vision for present and future generations, and also environmental protection. On this occasion, we tried to show the new frontiers of design developed by companies and designers that feed the contemporary design debate. This year, among the topics that emerged, we can also find the new vision and attitude in terms of architectural and interior design. We see that we have an anthropocentric vision, so people at the center, and we want to put man and his needs back at the center, and also for the entire design chain. We have the Palestra project. We would like to conclude this project, and this is one of the topics being part of this debate. Well, we have different installations, for example, the transformation of green methanol into hydrogen, and this brings us into Navy as a sector, and this is one of the first sectors for carbon-neutral power, so traditional engine in boating in general. Then we also have lamps that prevent the growth of bacteria on the surfaces that illuminate it, so that we can have places that can be seen in another way. Then we also have trees that speak through sensors applied to the trunk that talk about the state of health of trees. And then we also have a future mobility with all the studies carried out by national and international players. So if we get a little bit more into detail, we see that man is at the center in terms of architecture. We both in the architectural design and interior design. So we want to do something that is really tailor-made, personalization of spaces. And investments in real estates are fundamental, are crucial, whether offices, large or residential buildings or hotels. And this is becoming a driving force. In this process, furnishing elements do not become individual predefined supplies, but customized elements based on sort of approach that invites the conscious choice of all production components. And this project can also become a choral action within the same work. Collaboration and working together on the same project between players and stakeholders and actors with different skills enables the optimization of the construction process of a work and its performance characteristics. So I can also quote Gabriele Chiave, founder of the Contro Vento Collective, who said that in recent years the designer's intervention has come to involve more and more aspects of the product: communication, pictures, image, photography, text and storytelling. The product accounts for only 50% of the designer's work. The other 50% concerns everything that revolves around it. Design today is a rather multi-faceted discipline, and that figure of the designer increasingly coincides with that of the creative director, whose aesthetic and technological vision is expressed in different contexts and at different scales of complexity. So the designer produces ideas and inventions, and the product is the result of work closely linked to the research of the company that produces and develops the product itself. We would like to show a couple of projects, two different architectures that give us also, that tell us that we are right in this approach. First of all, we have the collaboration between two important design studios, Architettonica in Miami and Italian studio ACPV architects Antonio Citterio, Patricia Viel. Well, we are talking about the project of the residential tower 1428 Brickell that is being built, so the project is ongoing. Well, we have 70 floors and 189 residential units. We have very high quality standards and common spaces. And we also have the intervention of the two studios that was based on two different directions. So we have Arquitectonica, design the tower's green architecture, and ACPV, the interior design, using all the made in Italy products. So what the collaboration between these two studios was devoted to a rebalancing of space between the living and sleeping areas. So the American market tends to promote the number of bedrooms, and the parameter determines the price of a flat, well, there is this balance between living and sleeping areas, and this was very important also for the Italian studio, and this also well, had an impact on the architecture itself as such. Another important point that we dealt with, both in the interior design and the architectural design, is based on the example I'm going to give you. So we are going to give you an example of built architecture. So this correlation, this connection between artificial and natural. The example is a multi-function building in Singapore. So a skyscraper designed by Danish studio with headquarters in New York. And, there was a collaboration with the CRA studio, Carlo Ratti Associati. So the basic idea is a contemporary reinterpretation of the garden city of the 20th century. We are talking about a mixed function district and project. The basement, the street level of the building is given back to the city in the form of a large pedestrian island. The first two floors are used as a market, and the next 8 levels are designed for residential use with a garden, until arriving at the green heart of the building, kind of a vertical forest that can be crossed by a spiral walkway. I'm so sorry, but you can't see the pictures here. Well, I'm slower than the video, so the pictures were there before. But anyway, then we have a roof garden, the next level, which overlooks the city, where we can also find the highest farm of Singapore, in which more than 150 species of fruit, vegetables, grass, and flowers are grown. So this is a multi-function, mixed-function building, and the new element is that nature is inside the building, so it is distributed among the living spaces. Well, also in the examples you saw, the installations at Statale, we also have some domestic spaces and other ones in which nature is in the middle. We have 3 different studios: Massimo Iosaghini, an Italian studio, Topotec, a German studio, Bruno Simoes, a Brazilian studio, and they also created this kind of combination between nature on the one hand and art on the other hand. And this was also the installation by Stefano Boeri at swing installation. I don't know if you remember it. There was this kind of facility in the middle, and it was kind of teeter-totter, and the basic concept are the inhabitants that are fully fledged inhabitants of the city. And then we also have other topics that we will be dealing with today: AI, artificial intelligence, and we can say that this is one of the most up-to-date and crucial tools for design and architectural design, and it can undoubtedly solve some problems very quickly, working by analyzing the history of information on the web. So this kind of work with artificial intelligence intelligence that can also speed up this process. So we just need a couple of seconds. But I think that this does not replace individual creativity or talent and genius, which are typical traits of human beings. And in these events, we also saw augmented reality, new technology of augmented reality that supports artificial intelligence, and it is one of the new frontiers. And well, we have had an installation which is interactive and created technology-based work, but the creativity is always the core element, and this is something that is done by man, by people. So you also had the QR code, and you could also create new landscapes, or the fully digital installation that you also saw by Elena Salmistrano has reinterpreted the Velasca Tower, and as you all know, this is an iconic building here in Milan. Okay, that's it. Thank you.